To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes Build Events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Welcome to the World Center of Racing here tonight from Daytona International Speedway for the opening race of the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series, live tonight on V-Speed. 60 laps here. It's 150 miles. We've got 3 tire sets available. Not going to be too much of an issue for most of these drivers, but if you have enough accidents, you might wear the tires out. We've got 2 green light checkered attempts, 80% fuel loads. This is the opening race of the series, just 10 races. Here we go, kicking things off for the Challenger Series for Saturday Night Racing League. Green flags in the air. We're off and away. And we got cars spinning, huge pile. Logan Threlkeld with the advantage. Here goes Matthew Radford, gonna jump to the outside. It's gonna be a drag race, and Radford's gonna win it.
Wow, what a finish. Man, Radford just timed that perfectly.
He's going to come into 3 and 4 with about a half a second lead. Out of turn 4 for the final time. And across the line, it's Brian Chambliss with his first win of the season. And Jordan Trask, can they battle it out? They're going to get side by side. They're actually running it down here. What will Philip Brewer do? Will he try to get to the outside again? Not quite able to do it. Bryce clears him, but there goes Philip Brewer. Looks like Bryce Shoemaker is going to have no pressure from behind. Bryce Shoemaker is going to take the victory, 128 laps without a pit stop. 1/1000th of a second across that line. Chuck Sweeney led that lap by. The white flag is out. Final time around for the Challenger Series at Michigan. The 2-mile speedway. If you're Dakota Boy here, what do you do right now? Look at the block down the backstretch. You have to send it in hard here on the bottom, but Ferrara's got the preferred line. And they're 3-4 wide back here in the 10th position. But off in turn 4 for the final time, side by side. A door check, 3 wide for the lead. Ferrara is going to get the win at Michigan.
He's loose down there, though. He really sent it in there on the bottom here. Caleb trying to complete the pass here to grab that lead back.
A little bit of a slide job. Here comes Chuck Sweeting on his way by. Caleb Wheatley, after dominating here at Bristol, is going to take the win.
We'll see them both taking the high line, and he's in the back bumper of the 9.
Oh, man, I think he's going to hang on, though.
Chambliss able to hold on to it, keeps the momentum. The 44 does not have enough as Brian Chambliss takes home race number 10. Dakota Floyd finishing in the 6th position as our championship winner here tonight.
You're watching the Saturday Night Racing Challenger Series, only on V-Speed.
Hey, Well, it's Saturday night, and you know what that means. It's the Saturday Night Racing League here live from Chicagoland. It's been a wild season so far. Already week 10. It's just going to get even more chaotic the closer and closer that we get to the first playoff statute or playoff format that we have here for season 2 that we didn't have in season 1. So it's just, it's going to be crazy all the way around. Tonight, I'm your host, Logan Threlkeld. Alongside me, as always, Jeff right up here in the V-Speed booth, taking over the color commentary. Jeff, how you doing this week, buddy? We had a wild one at Dover last week. What are we expecting here in Chicago?
Yeah, we certainly have. It's kind of been a wild season. We've seen a lot of comers and goers, but as of late, we've kind of seen one driver really start to show themselves as the championship favorite. And that's our points leader right here. Dakota Floyd, 51 points ahead of the field. But a handful of different winners this season. Chicagoland is a super fun racetrack. It's one of my favorites. And we have a guy that's, a little bit deeper in the points, and Michael Muncie. He won this race a season ago in the Truck Series. So, we only take the top 12 to go playoff racing. So this could be a really good opportunity for that guy in particular to try to get himself into that playoff conversation.
Very well could. And, although Dakota Floyd showing a lot of promise here in the regular season, having this playoff format could completely change the name of the game. We'll just have to find out once we get there tonight. We have Chicagoland. Opened up in 2001. July 1st up in Joliet, Illinois, 1.5 miles around, and of course that famous backstretch that's never actually straight. It poses a big challenge to these drivers coming off of turn number 2. You have to follow that curvature all the way around. I don't really think that there's a single section of this track that actually isn't a straight line, Jeff.
Yeah, there's really not. You're absolutely right. This track is constantly turning in one way or another, and although that is a, curved back straightaway, I mean, once you get into that zone and kind of get into that flow state of driving, you really don't even notice it. So it can be a bit of a challenge in terms of qualifying. Sometimes you see guys elect to kind of run middle of the backstretch to try to get the shortest way around. But, man, yeah, once you're racing, you're in that zone. You're just prepping yourself for the entry of turn 3, which is another treacherous part of this racetrack. There's a big bump in there. So I think that area in particular could spell trouble for a lot of these guys tonight.
On top of that, you've got the changing degrees of banking. 18 degrees of bank in the corners. You got the 11 degrees of bank across the front stretch. I believe the back stretch is right there in the 11 or 12 degrees area as well. So that constant banking all the way around the track, it throws down a different challenge of tire wear that you don't typically see. For tonight, we've got 100 laps on the board, of course, 45 miles an hour down pit road. 3 extra tire sets available over the wall, 2 green-white checkered attempts if needed at the end of this race with our standard 80% fuel load and the iRacing fixed setup. But it looks like our gridding is already complete. We've got our qualifying order, Jeff. Let's get right into it, see who set our pole on the night. That's going to go none other than the 03 of Noah Mahalski. I believe that'll be his first pole position of the year, just narrowly getting ahead of Jordan Trask, who's going to take home second, or rather take the first start in second. Goodness me. Second row will be Richard Holland in the 17 next to the 44 of Philip Brewer. Dakota Floyd, our points leader, starts out in 5th with the 57 machine next to the 13 of Caleb Weekly in 6th. 7th is 18 of Rob Hamp, next to newcomer. Well, not really a newcomer. He just hasn't made too many appearances this year. Elton Stewart in the 4. Last but not least in our top 10, Bradley Cooper, V-Speed's very own, in 9th, next to 63 of Max Cost in 10th.
In the 11th starting position, going to be Morgan Cook, actually one of the highest finishers from the previous Cup race here at Chicagoland, alongside Brandon Wallace starting in 12th. In the 13th position, it's going to be Jacob Locklear in that 84 machine, alongside Justin Curtis, the race winner from Daytona in our season opener. Matt Shanoski rolls off 15th tonight, alongside Christopher Hodges in the number 15. Rob Denton will roll off 17th, alongside Jeremy Reed in that 94. Ben Laughter in 19th. Stephen Davis rounds out the top 20.
In the 21st position, Michael Muncie, who you mentioned took home that win last season. Next to him, the 24 of Austin Belkey in 22nd. 23rd goes to Matt Dominique in the 25 machine, next to the 9 of Tad Dabney. 25th will be Chris Rude from Walking and Rolling Costumes in the 32, next to the 10 of Greg Spiker in 26th. 27th, with no qualifying effort, will be Tim Shinoski in the 41, next to Justin Carey in the 21. 29th will be Benjamin Richards in the 56, next to the 88 of Keith Shoemaker. And one last car to go. It's the 22 of Michael Jones. They're already down the backstretch here as well. Let's get right to the live action before they take that green flag. That beautiful blimp shot here as you see the entire field making their way there through turn 3 and 4. Pace car will come off, this time by Noah Mahalski on the inside line. Jordan Trass on the outside. Here comes that iRacing pace car into the Geico restart zone. We go. Green flag in the air for the first time tonight. Through turns 3 and 4, Noah Mahalski will retain the lead here for lap number 1. Philip Brewer in that yellow Hellman's 44. He's got a good solid line here on the inside, keeping Jordan Trass high up on the track through 1 and 2 once more. Eldon Stewart trying to find some pace right behind there on the top line. See who can come out victorious in this one, as there's a lot of motion back here towards the back half of the top 10. Nearly 3 wide situation around Bradley Cooper in the 2.
Yeah, everybody's just trying to get all they can get here in the early goings, and already seeing guys run all the way up towards the wall. And I'll say that one of the new updates here to iRacing has made that outside line, especially in turns 3 and 4, a lot more usable than it's ever been. Typically at Chicagoland, the only place you could run the top effectively was really 1 and 2. But now with that update, and I don't know if that has anything to do with the tires or track surface or what, but for some reason, it's become a lot more competitive. So I think we're going to see a lot of guys use that line. As we see Rob Hamp there in the 18, he's going up there searching for some grip. And watch the run that he's going to get off here. He's not going to have much of anything to go with it. He's going to try to shoot to the outside of Caleb Weekly. But that just shows you there's a lot of grip up there, and that's something different about Chicagoland.
That it is, and they're through 3 and 4. Saw the 13, keeping the 57 way down low on the track. Nearly contact between the two. Kept it off of each other, but Weekly shot right back up the racetrack in front of the 18 as Rob Hamp does make contact with the wall down the backstretch. Just before the entry of 3. Not enough to really slow him down. He's still challenging Weekly for that position here. That's looking for that 6th spot. Jordan Trass has fallen back a little bit from his start.
Yeah, it looks like maybe trying to elect to go with that tire conservation mode, but you definitely want to do that here at Chicago. And tonight it's, a pretty mild night. It's not too hot out there, I guess. At least the ambient air temperature is not, but it is clear. Not many clouds out there, so track temp is going to be a little bit higher, as you can see right there on screen. So only 74 degrees right now, and I think in sim it's only supposed to get up to about 76. So the track temp may go up just a little bit, but we've had some really hot, slick races lately. There's a lot of grip in this racetrack with the ambient temp not being as hot as it has been in the past. So that's going to allow for some of these guys to be aggressive, push their stuff, and you have to wonder, these guys that are running the top right now, how long are they going to be able to do that? Is that going to chew up their tires, and are they going to start falling back later in the run?
That very well could be a big possibility right now. It's the 84 on the ticker. Does that say the 14, or is that the 84 on the side of the car? I can't quite tell from this camera angle, but Jacob Locklear gets around the outside of Bradley Cooper here. That's for the 12th position, just outside of the top 10, the 51 of Morgan Cook. He's way up on the racetrack here, running that high line, and makes contact with the wall out of 2. That's something I was talking to some of these drivers about pre-race, is, making that adjustment coming out of the corner. Once you get that rear end sliding a little bit, it's difficult to hold the car off of the wall coming down the backstretch with that constant turn. It's a whole different dynamic
And also these long sweeping corners. I mean, this is similar to like a Kansas in terms of it has those long sweeping corners. It's not, narrow or a quad oval like you see like at Charlotte, which, but that you were in the corner for so long at this racetrack. And so once you start a slide early, you are sliding all the way through, the center and the exit of that corner. As we see, I believe that's Michael Muncy trying to go to the outside, trying to get some ground. Ran this race really well in the trucks and found himself in a really good position there. Xfinity car, though, handles quite a bit different. There's not a lot of similarities between these two cars. So, the guys that were really good last time here, might not be the guys that rise to the top in this car. It's just, it's so different. And you could say that about all of the iRacing vehicles. They all have their unique quirks that make them different. And also, the fact that this thing just has probably higher top speed, less downforce. That makes it so that these tires wear a lot because you're going to be sliding a lot when you don't have that downforce.
Then, as we just saw there, the utilization of the apron coming across the front stretch, entirely legal, is just behind Dakota Floyd. Nearly another 3-wide situation for Cooper. Got the 99 to Brandon Wallace looking to the inside. Judson Curtis on the 29 on the outside. We're just going to look to the inside now of Morgan Cook. The two have enough off of turn 4 to get in front of the 51. No, he keeps it down on the track. There's that move to the apron. It does shave a little bit of the track, but at the same time, you're nearly sliding all the way across that apron, just putting excess heat in the tires. That's one thing that those drivers trying to use that line will have to pay attention to. Still side by side here with Cooper and Cook. Got the 99 still trying to get around. Judson Curtis finally got ahead. That leaves the 93 of Rob Denton on the outside here. Looks like he is clear of Brandon Wallace now. Let's take a look back up towards our leader here. Noah Mahalski separating himself by a little over a quarter of a second. Philip Brewer, who was like Chad Klinger, or Brian Chambliss rather, in chat recalls this race last year where Brewer was extremely fast towards the end of the race. We'll see if he can put one together here tonight and maybe take home Chicagoland here in Season 2.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see Philip Brewer be really strong here towards the end. Obviously, already running right up here inside the top two, keeping Noah Mahalski within reach. But look at, the guys behind him. Eldon Stewart running up in the top 3. That's a good run for him. Under pressure right now from Richard Holland. And Richard Holland had the race lead late last week at Dover, but just was not able to hold off a hard-charging Dakota Floyd. So he settled for P2. He's been very good on the 1.5 miles this season, so and very good on the long run too, which Chicagoland is a track that you got to be good on the long run. This is a surface that does wear tires quite a bit, so I think you got to look out for that 17 of Richard Holland, but also Philip Brewer. He led the most laps here in the truck series just a season ago, so obviously knows how to get around here. Strategy just didn't quite go his way, but here comes Jordan Trask back towards the top 3, and looked like he had backed off a little bit early, maybe trying to take care of his stuff. And so far, it's working for him. He's climbing a few positions and now back up to 3rd.
I have to say, from a personal standpoint, meeting Jordan about this time last year, the growth of that driver in the 79 has been incredible to watch him, go from middle of the pack last season pretty consistently, now to consistently being mentioned in the top 5 just about anywhere we go in this Season 2. And Trask being a big threat this year for a championship. Right behind him, Holland and
too.
Yeah, very much so.
A lot of the guys, that are really good in the trucks, a lot of them don't like the Xfinity car, and there's some guys that are good in the Xfinity car that maybe don't do as well in the Cup Series car. So that's what's interesting about running different cars throughout different seasons. You kind of get to see which drivers are good or excel at a certain car, and then kind of see which drivers struggle in a different one. So the Xfinity car seems to be a pretty good car here for Jordan, like you mentioned, but also guys like Mahalski and Brewer. I think Mahalski hasn't led near the amount of laps, last season that he has this season, and also has a win to his name. So, yeah, it's just interesting to see where drivers, thrive and where they might struggle a little bit.
Looking for some more battles out here throughout the field. Everybody's pretty well close together. A bit further back, looks like Tad Dabney leading the way here, trying to catch back up to the 94, Jeremy Reed. Just under a tenth here separating these two as Dabney gets a good run through 3 and 4, keeps it low on the track. He does have the advantage and now fully clear of Jeremy Reed. So Dabney up a position now from where he started. Brandon Wallace has found himself side by side with Stephen Davis out on the outside for the 99. Another driver who's also improving every single week. Just kind of a string of bad luck for the 99.
Yeah, he's been a victim of some bad luck here and there, and but Brandon's one of those guys. He's been with us for a long time in Saturday Night Racing League, so competing in both our Challenger and our Cup Series, and the more and more experience these guys get racing against good competition, that's just going to make you better. And I think the first few seasons we didn't see Brandon running this far up towards the front, and so I think there's no doubt that he has improved greatly and become a lot more competitive. Still, some of that bad luck has haunted him from preventing him, from getting good finishes. But just where he's, racing and running at a consistent basis, you've got to tip your hat to this 99. He's really improved a lot, and it's been a lot of fun to watch.
Absolutely do. We'll take a look on board here. Off the back of the 93 of Rob Denton, you can see those two battling side by side right behind him. Davis still looking to the inside. Wallace still on the outside. Rob Denton a little bit out of the throttle there. Maybe forces the 99 to back out of it as well. So Stephen Davis is going to get that inside line advantage and move up to 16th. Brandon Wallace now losing another position to the 24 of Austin Belke.
I was just looking at another driver. I was going to say, shout out Max Koss. He's up a few positions as well. He's running in the 7th position as we speak right now. So a good run for him. Max is doing pretty good in the points. I got to give him some credit for the run tonight. But anytime you bring up that onboard camera with Rob Denton, it's just so fun to watch. It's just such a cool perspective. He's got, the triple screens, the motion rig. That's always such an awesome shot that Rob provides us each and every single week.
And it's cool, too, to use that at these tracks that are extremely bumpy. You can feel through the camera just how treacherous this track can be in some sections. We'll definitely hop on board with Denton more often throughout this race so you guys can get a better look at that. Right now, Jacob Locklear, he's closing in on a top 10 position. The 18 of Rob Hamp just ahead of the 84. Bradley Cooper still floating right around that 12th position. Did get around the 51 of Morgan Cook here in the past couple laps. Cook falling off the pace just a touch. Judson Curtis right there closing that gap as well. Up towards the front, this battle between Eldon Stewart, Richard Holland still fierce as ever. And now the 13 of Weekly starting to catch up to it, towing the 63 of Max Cost as well. Go to Floyd, our points leader. He fell back to about 10th position. Worked his way back up to 8th, trying to join in on this battle here for this 4th place spot. Our top 3 have kind of ran away from everybody else. Jordan Trask is really caught up to Philip Brewer now, as Brewer into the wall just a touch there out of 2. To give Trask a little bit of an advantage here. Down to the inside once more through 3 and 4. Brewer holding it high up on the wall.
You can see how bad those bumps are up on the top lane here at Chicagoland, which is one of the main reasons I feel like that the top in 3 and 4 was never a very good, viable choice to run, just because you hit those bumps, it really upset the car. But now it seems like the cars can get over the bumps okay now. So I don't know if that's just setup or if, something has changed in iRacing specifically, but it's really fun to watch this as a spectator because every time we've driven this place, as a driver, that was no man's land. And now you're seeing cars like up there, like Caleb Weekly and Eldon Stewart running the top and, maintaining and sometimes getting bigger runs off the corners. It's just something that we never really saw at this racetrack before.
On board now with Caleb Weekly, who's putting pressure all over the back bumper of the 4 and that right rear quarter there of Richard Holland in the 17. Weekly looking to the middle between these two. Doesn't quite get the drive that he needs to get there. That door closed just as fast as it opened for the 13. Following the 4 right now on the high line. We'll see if Caleb has anything here for the 17, but also has to play defense to Max Cost. Go to Floyd now on the inside as well, inserting himself into this battle. So it's a 5-horse race here for the 4th position on the field.
And really, there's nowhere to go for, Caleb Weekly or Dakota right now. I feel like if Dakota can get a good run off the bottom here, he can maybe get underneath these guys and clear them both. I think he's probably saved the tires the best of anybody right here, just because I've seen him driving past guys throughout this run. So looks like he's going to get the 4 of Eldon Stewart right here, and that's going to set him up here to maybe try and get that 17. But now Caleb Weekly going to look to the inside here of the 4, but not going to quite have the run. But here comes Max Cost on the top. We were talking about him earlier. See if he can run the Larson line, as they call it, and maybe get a big run off here and try to grab another position or two.
So hard. Oh, nearly contact for the 63 and the 13 out of turn number 2. Max Cost got loose, collected it back up. I don't know if they did make contact, but that was certainly not what you want to see to your outside. If you're Caleb Weekly, Max Cost will fall back, give himself some breathing room here, but he does make a charge back to the back bumper. Will he look to the inside? And slightly, he's going to run that middle line through 1 and 2. Weekly way up high on the racetrack. And this whole second pack that wasn't quite in the picture is caught back up as these 5 cars have been battling. Go to Floyd. He does take over that 4th position. He got around Richard Holland. Now he's got some open air for the 57, which is going to be so important at this track. Just trying to find some sort of extra grip.
Yeah, that's a large distance to make up for the 57 now, but now that he has the clean air, he should be able to run some pretty solid lap times. The top 3 have really checked out. Noah Mahalski has, stretched his lead out to a second, and it's kind of fluctuated between, 7/10 and a second. So still a very comfortable lead for the 03, got the clean air. So he's kind of just smooth sailing right now. Just behind him, Jordan Trask and Philip Brewer kind of been trading positions a little bit back and forth this run. I think that might be allowing Noah to pull out a little bit further, just the fact that these guys are having to battle. But looking at the ticker right now, we see 3 seconds back to 4th. I would not be surprised at all. We start seeing that gradually come down. I think Dakota's done a really good job of saving his stuff.
With that said, strategy is going to be a big part of this, whether it be tires or fuel. That 80% fuel load always coming into play week after week. Trask to the inside here to the 44. He gets the advantage. Will he be able to get back up in front? He does before turn 1. Jordan Trask back to 2nd place, right where he started.
Yeah, Brewer caught the wall a little bit there coming out of turns 3 and 4, so that slowed his momentum just enough. Going to have to give up the position. But he's committed to running that high line right now. He's running it pretty much both ends of the racetrack. And it's just really cool to see this, just because every time I've been a driver at this racetrack, it's almost always been, paint the white line. And that was going to be where the most speed was at, but also where you're going to be able to save your tires the best. So as a spectator up here in the booth with you today, Logan, this is just really interesting to watch. Just hasn't been like this for as long as I can remember on iRacing.
Just pay attention to the steering wheel here. There are so many micro corrections that Brewer is having to make just 33 laps into this run. You can see the tire wear already becoming a factor as now the 44 makes his way to the bottom line, slowing way down. Our leader, Noah Mahalski, Philip Brewer, both going to bring it down pit road here on lap 33. Caleb Weekly as well, looks like the 15 behind. Christopher Hodges too.
Yeah, I like the call. This kind of prevents any of the cars behind Noah from getting the advantage on him from short pitting. And he's got a lot of takers with him, too. So these are going to be cars that are all going to be right behind him. So even if there is some guys that go long and get those fresher tires for the end of the run.
Rob Denton gets spun into his box. Rob Denton completely sideways as he tries to enter his box. Got spun around there by Matt Shinosky. Let's take it back here on a replay, see what happened to the 93. Up on board here, Rob Denton, there he is. coming down pit road. Shinosky makes his way to the inside early and just gets into the 93 of Denton. Not what you want to see.
No, unfortunate for both drivers. You saw Shinosky also came to a stop there, so both of them going to lose a lot of time here and probably going to need a caution in order to make any of that ground back up.
Our current leader, Jordan Trask, is going to pick up a couple laps led here. Still trying to stretch out this first run. Eldon Stewart following suit. Bradley Cooper has made his way up to third place now with all the pit cycling beginning on the inside of the 4 machine. Cooper now up into second. But here comes Noah Mahalski, Philip Brewer, who have already pit. They're going to pass him like he's standing still regardless of Cooper and Stewart coming down pit road. Judson Curtis there as well. Looks like maybe the 63 of Max Cost following suit. Rob Hamp's going to assume the lead here now.
Going to grab a bonus point too, so might as well try to stay out, lead a lap, especially these guys that are in the points bubble. Trying to get into the chase. Only a few more races left here before we get to the chase. So every single point counts, and you have to think that's probably why some of these drivers are wanting to stay out and get a bonus point credited to their name.
Bonus points are going to be big here in just a few short weeks. That playoff right around the corner. Rob Hamp running that high line into the wall all the way around, so that's going to slow him up quite a bit. Will the 99 of Wallace have anything to catch back up here? A little bit of draft help coming from the 63 as he slides up in front, but I don't think that Wallace will be able to catch up to the 18 to claim a lap lead here for himself. Got Austin Belkey and the 84 of Locklear to the inside. Well clear, easy as can be. 99 running 39 laps so far on this set of tires. Justin Carey in the 21, Michael Jones in the 22. They have yet to pit here as well. It'll be interesting to see how this overcut strategy works for some of these drivers. Take a look at Noah Mahalski, still being followed by the 44 of Philip Brewer. It's a 93 of Denton right behind them. Still a lap down for Denton after getting spun around there on pit road.
Yeah, Denton, he needs to get that lap back. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. He's got the damage, but also he lost all that ground from the spin here. So if he can try to push his stuff here and try to get around these leaders and get his lap back the old-fashioned way, then he'd be in a better spot to where if you catch a caution, you come down and can fix your car as much as you can, and then try to get all you can get, but certainly not in a great spot right now as they run.
Our points leader, Dakota Floyd, currently sitting 7th with our top 4 not coming down pit road just yet. Jordan Trask cycles back to 8th, will be 4th once our top 4 brings it down. Morgan Cook now up to the 5th position. He did the short pit strategy about 4 laps sooner than Jordan Trask, on the same strategy as Noah Mahalski and Philip Brewer. Richard Holland 5 laps ago for the 17. He'll be in 10th right now. So kind of a mix-up here in the top 5, top 10 area.
Yeah, you got the guys that are electing to go long here, and they're kind of just, at this point, they're praying for a caution. Because then if that were to happen, they could pit right here, get their first set of tires, and also, gain all of that track position that they have by staying out this long. So all the guys, though, behind them, they're kind of banking on this thing cycling out. So once this does cycle out, it should be Mahalski, Brewer, Floyd, your top 3. Then you got Trask that will cycle out to 4th. Morgan Cook currently runs 5th. But Brewer, he made up a lot of ground on the 03 of Noah Mahalski there on the pit entry. We noticed he was starting to struggle a little bit. We saw Brewer catch the fence a few times, fell back to 3rd, but had a really good pit stop and good pit entry. Gets himself right back into the conversation of this race.
Justin Carey catches the lead now. Rob Hamp has brought it down, as well as Brandon Wallace. There's only 2 drivers still out there. Looks like we might see 2 of these guys attempt to split this race in half. Justin Carey, Michael Jones, the 21 and the 22, still turning laps, coming around for lap 43 for Justin Carey on this set of tires.
Yeah, I don't think they can make it halfway. I mean, if they do, they would have to save quite a bit of fuel, and the amount of time that they would be giving up to save that much, I just feel like it's going to be lost, by these other guys pitting twice. I think they're just going to make up that time. So we'll see how far they can run it dry. I don't know if that's the goal, is trying to stretch it to halfway by saving, or, if they're just trying to basically go as far as they possibly can, maybe catch a caution at a good time and, net some good track position from it. But I would certainly be shocked to see if anybody can make it to lap 50.
Justin Carey has brought it down, but as you were mentioning that, Noah Michalski was making that pass around the 22 of Michael Jones. So with that kind of split decision there, Michalski on 11-lap old tires versus Jones on 45 now. Even if Jones can make it to halfway, Michalski and Brewer stick to the same strategy of splitting this race into thirds. It looks like they'll be able to catch back up if anybody was electing to stay out the entire 50-lap run here, if it's even possible.
Yeah, and I think it kind of shows that it's probably not possible, or at least the fact that it's not going to work out, because these leaders were able to catch the guys that stayed out, well before lap 50 here. So that in itself kind of tells you that the saving strategy is not going to work just based on a time standpoint. I don't know if they could even make it an additional 4 laps to lap 50 anyway, but I certainly think the race-winning strategy is splitting it into thirds. So you saw guys like Noah and Philip Brewer, a lot of those guys pit around lap 33. You would assume they're going to pit sometime around lap 66, maybe stretch this run a little bit longer so that the run to the end is shorter. But that looks like that's what's probably going to be the winning strategy.
Jones is already at threat of falling out of the top 10 with this strategy, so definitely not the call that you want to make, especially if you see some of these drivers stretch out the end of this run and have those much fresher tires than even just 7 or 30 laps rather difference that we're seeing right now. Oh, looks like the 22 might have brought it down pit road. He has. So finally, Michael Jones makes it to his pit stall. Couldn't quite make it to the halfway point. Just as you
couldn't
thought.
quite make it. But also, I mean, that is a lot of laps on those tires. I'm sure those tires were just screaming at him, trying to, get to pit lane, because 48 laps around this track is a long time. I wouldn't be surprised if those things were down to the single digits in terms of tire wear.
On board now with Bradley Coopers. He's battling the 15 of Christopher Hodges. Hodges up on the outside line. There he is. Cooper gets a better run off the bottom of the corner. Hodges will slide in behind. He's going to stick it up high here through 3 and 4 as well. Just behind, it's Judson Curtis and Austin Belke going at it for the 12th position. Curtis gets ahead through 3 and 4. Now, this is one thing. Cooper has that camera angle set up perfectly. If he had a full motion sim rig like Rob Denton did, that'd be a perfect angle for it.
Yeah, it would be. You'd be able to see him bouncing around in the seat, getting thrown all around. A lot of times all we have to do as drivers, at least the ones that don't have motion, we get to feel all those bumps and everything through the steering wheel. But I couldn't imagine trying to wheel the race car and also being thrown around in the seat. But I'm sure it makes for quite the experience for sure. And I think that's what Rob goes for, is that realism and kind of making it as real as possible in terms of actually feeling the G-forces and being thrown around. So I'll tell you what, Logan, if I could afford it, I would try it. Absolutely.
Oh, 100%. If I had the room and the money for it, I'd have a full garage set up for it. Here's a driver we haven't mentioned a whole lot of yet tonight, Matt Dominique. He's up 6 positions into the 17th spot, battling Matt Shinosky just ahead, trying to make it 7 spots on the night. Here's the 64 of Ben Laughter. Must have been caught up in something early. Laughter down 12 laps in this race for the 64. not very characteristic.
Yeah, I don't know if he got gridded on time or had some network problems, but I don't think he was out there for the start. So I don't think he was involved in any accident or, had any damage. The car looks pretty clean. So I think it was just a matter of losing the start. But interesting stat here. Brandon Wallace actually just dropped in the chat here on the stream what his tire wear was. So he was showing 24 on the right front tire, 62 on the right rear. So that right there tells you how much that right front tire is getting chewed up, especially a lot of these guys electing to run the fence, both ends of the racetrack. A lot of force being put on that right front. And you're seeing it with the high tire wear counts. And, for those guys that went extra long, I'm sure it's even worse than that.
We saw Hodges battling with Cooper. Now Judson Curtis gets around on the inside line. It's only a matter of time before the 24 of Belkey catches up to the 15. Curtis now running in the 11th position. Louisiana Hot Sauce 29 Chevy Camaro. He's got some speed here. He's had speed all season long. It's not too often that you see the 29 this far back already halfway through the race.
Yeah, he's been a victim that's, had some bad luck, been caught up in some accidents, had that, great start to the season, getting the win at Daytona, and you kind of go from that high of winning the season opener, and then, in the weeks after, getting collected in some incidents and, just kind of struggling to maybe get the finishes that he feels he deserves. But so far tonight, having a pretty good run, just outside the top 10, looking for a bit more.
Apologize for that there. Morgan Cook got extremely loose out of turn number 2. That's going to give Jacob Locklear the 7th position around the outside. Max Koss might be able to find some momentum here out of 4 to get around the 51 as well. Morgan Cook did a fantastic job saving that car. Man, what a loss of position here, and now under fire from the 63. Teammate Bradley Cooper as well behind, catching up.
Yeah, and as this is all going on, just looking up and down the timing and scoring, looking at some of the biggest movers of tonight. One of them that jumps out is Austin Belkey in that 24 machine. Started 22nd and has found his way up all the way to 13th. Looks like he is working on the 12th position right there in Christopher Hodges, as they're going to go side by side here down the front straightaway and see if Austin can get one more. So obviously showing that he's got a long run car. He's got this thing figured out, trying to paint that white line towards the bottom, and so far it seems to be working for him.
Belkey, Hodges on the same strategy, 4 tires. Hodges fading rather rapidly here. Maybe pushed it a little bit too hard to start out this second stint. We're already coming up on potentially another pit stop here, closing in on lap 60. See it within the next 10 laps, I would assume.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to do a short pit strategy, you're probably going to see it here within the next few laps too. You're going to assume the leaders are probably going to, split it right on the number exactly. So 66 or maybe a few laps after. If you want to beat the leaders to pit lane, then you probably should, try to get in, around, 60 to 62, somewhere around there if you want to have a big enough of an undercut. We can already see that these guys can stretch it a decent ways further on fuel. So we'll have to see if anybody pulls out some strategy here. Because if they don't, it looks like, these leaders are smooth sailing away right now. Mahalski is checked out now to one of the largest leads he has had all night over Philip Brewer. Dakota Floyd has stayed pretty close around that 1.5 seconds back mark. So he's staying pretty close to Brewer. And Jordan Trask not too far from Dakota Floyd right here, as you can see on the shot. These 3 cars, I feel like if they get to battling, that's just going to allow Mahalski to get out to an even bigger lead. And I'm sure these guys right now are thinking, how do we beat Noah here? We got to do something different, either short pit him or maybe try to go a little bit longer. But if you do the exact same thing as the 03, you're probably just going to run where you're running right now. So these guys got to be thinking about what they want to do.
Late race caution, always a threat as well. My recollection, that is what kind of changed the whole outcome for Philip Brewer last season in the trucks. Let to see what happens here. About 35 laps or so when things really start to heat up. See that green and black 03 just ahead of these two, as now we've got some lap traffic at play as well for our leaders. The 10 of Greg Spiker high up on the outside. He's going to keep it high. Will Dakota Floyd use the 10 as a pick here? He does. Philip Brewer nowhere to really get around Greg Spiker. Dakota Floyd takes the inside line, and he's going to take over second place here on lap 61.
Yeah, that was just utilized really good there by the 57. Brewer just, got stuck behind the lap car of Greg Spiker right there and, showed some patience, didn't run in the back of him or rough him up at all, but he's going to lose enough time to where Dakota Floyd is going to get the position. And now just behind him, the 79 Jordan Trask, who actually went longer than anybody, at least in the lead group here, as far as the first pit stop cycle goes. So he would have fresher tires than both of these guys. We'll see if maybe he can complete a pass on either one of these guys before the next pit stop happens.
Trask right now looking to use that apron to get ahead, but he's not going to. He'll be door-to-door on the entrance of one. Philip Brewer checks up quite a bit. You can see that rear end of the 79 start to slide out on entry. Trask does a great job to keep it under control. Slides up in front of the 44. Now the 79's in third.
And now if you're Philip Brewer, I feel like you got to start thinking about doing something different here. And I think, the short pit strategy, it can be appealing to get the track position, but you got to be good at defending late in the run because, if you do short pit here, those last, 10, 15 laps are going to be really hard to hold off your competitors. But with now Philip Brewer being 2 seconds behind the leader, if you want to win this race, you got to do something different. If you're looking for a good points day, third and fourth, that's not bad. But if you're wanting to go for the win, you're going to have to see somebody do something different.
Let's hop on board one more time here with Bradley Cooper to throw up that driver cam, see what the real life hand action is like. He's trying to attack the 84 of Jacob Locklear. 1 lap difference between the two drivers on tires now.
And Bradley Cooper, a driver that posted a top 3 last week at Dover, so his best finish of the season in the SNR Challenger Series, running 8th right now, looking for a few spots more as he's trying to find a way around this 84 of Jacob Locklear.
He's going to get the inside line. Here's the 84. He's got the bumper clear. Will Bradley Cooper slide up the track? He does just a touch. He is fully clear now of the 84 of Locklear. Textbook pass there.
That was a nice move there by Bradley Cooper, and he's had some good runs this season. He posted a top 10 at Auto Club early in the year, got 7th, and then his last 2 races, you look at Sonoma and Dover, finished 7th at Sonoma, and then we saw him last week, got a podium. We talked to him after a solid run at Dover. So Bradley Cooper showing some consistency here, probably is wanting to be a little bit further up the field, but also, top 10 here in the Challenger Series. It's not easy to do, is it, Logan?
Not at all. I can speak that from experience, but you know who is making it look easy? It's the 79 of Jordan Trask in the lead. Got around the 57 of Dakota Floyd right as the 03 of Noah Mahalski brought it down pit road from the lead. Now Floyd's going to bring it down pit road. I saw some smoke there just in front of him. It's the 32 of Chris Rude who got sideways, but luckily out of the way for Dakota Floyd. Jordan Trask now all by himself. Philip Brewer a second back behind. The 79 will continue to turn some laps here. Go for the overcut strategy over our 2 other leaders.
And you can see, by the time Noah had pit, Jordan was able to get the lead there, but that was like right on the number as far as, when guys pit here. So I think if you're Jordan here, if you want to go with the overcut, I feel like that's still a viable option, but maybe not go quite as long as you did last time. Maybe cut that by a lap or 2, and I think you would maybe be in a better spot. You would at least stay closer with the leaders and not have as much ground to make up. So we'll see how many laps that this 79 chooses to run here, but I would say definitely want to bring it in sooner than what you did last time.
He is still putting some distance on the 44, Philip Brewer, now back a second and a half from Jordan Trask in the lead. And he's got about almost 3.5 seconds back to third place, and 7 seconds separates Jordan Trask in fourth place of Bradley Cooper right now. There's a big gap here within the top 5. Bradley Cooper brings it down pit road, so that will change. Morgan Cook up to third. I would say, though, a good lap to bring it down for the 79 is right now. Omahalski brought it in right there at the end of lap 66. So 4-lap difference could mean everything here, and he's going to do exactly that. Jordan Trask brings it down onto the apron. Will he get it slowed up in time? And a big slide behind from Philip Brewer. Both drivers get it slowed down enough. No black flags for either one. That's going to give Morgan Cook the lead right before the start-finish line. There's a bonus point for the 51.
Yeah, and I'm a little surprised that Jordan Trask, Philip Brewer both decided to go that long. I would assume that they would have tried to get into pit lane a little bit sooner. I feel like the 03 and also the 57, they're going to have a huge lead on them when this all cycles through. But, I mean, you will have the tire advantage. So it just is a matter of, do they have enough laps to really utilize those new tires? And are they going to be enough to maybe get them towards the front and get them a win? I feel like that, you know, they're pretty safe as far as losing spots, you know, to 4th and 5th. I think they had a pretty good lead over them. But if the goal was to go for the win, I would have liked to see them on pit lane a little bit sooner. But who knows? We'll see how this cycles out. That could be a race-winning strategy.
Watch out now as Nomahalski already back on the lead lap. I think he just barely went 1 lap down on that cycle. The 03 up to 4th place here, just 5 laps after bringing it down pit road. Justin Carey, 27 laps on his tires. Brandon Wallace, 29. Hodges and Cook both at that 39 mark, 40 area. A couple drivers there that'll be bringing it down likely within the next 1 or 2 laps. The rest of the field has pit for the second cycle now. Interesting change up in strategy all throughout the field.
Yeah, you're really seeing some short pitters. You're seeing some guys that are kind of staying true to the game where they just want to, you know, split that into thirds and pit lap 33, right around 66. And then you got these guys that are going long, and you know, and there it is. It just might pay off. There's a caution on the speedway, and Morgan Cook is the race leader as we speak. Christopher Hodges, Brandon Wallace, all in a very good spot. They're going to get some big-time track position.
I am not sure at all where this is, Jeff. Do you have any sort of a clue?
I'm actually looking through right now on the replays. I'm trying to find it, but I'm not seeing it either at the moment.
See anybody that's lost a bunch of positions. I don't see anybody still sideways on the track. Very interesting yellow flag coming out here in Chicagoland.
Yeah,
like
I don't know where it's at.
Maybe Eldon Stewart and Judson Curtis. Not entirely positive. We'll take it back here on the replay and find out. Let's find the 4 of Stewart. All right, we're going to try it. I don't know if this is it, but we're going to find out. Looks like the 4 of Stewart.
You know what? I think I might have found it.
What do you have, Jeff?
I think the 9 of Tad Dabney stopped on the apron on the front stretch is what I'm seeing on the replay here.
So Dabney did just make contact with the wall here on the backstretch right behind Noah Mahalski. And here comes the 9 down on the bottom of the track to the apron. And yeah, slows it up coming into turn 1 and 2. Well off the racing surface. And yeah, tows it back to pit lane. Not the night that you're wanting to have. Dabney was 26 laps down. That's the only thing that makes any sense here. But so far off the racing surface, I'm not too sure why that yellow flag really came out.
Yeah, you can't do that though. I mean, if you're going to pull off, you really need to take it to pit lane and, you know, tow your vehicle there. iRacing will throw that caution anytime there's a car stopped, whether that's on the racing surface or if you're just sitting idle on the apron there. So not the place to be pulling off the racetrack, especially this race was going looking pretty green, and that's just really unfortunate to see that to be the reason to why the caution fell. So it's going to open the door up, though, for some strategy here. As a spectator here, Logan, it's going to get interesting, but I'm sure there is not going to be some very happy drivers out there once they see what brought this caution out.
Absolutely. We'll see some fireworks after this show is complete from that one. Our leader going into that, Morgan Cook, he cycles out to the 7th position and has nearly a 10-lap difference between his tires and the 03 of Noah Mahalski in the lead once more. That's going to be a big advantage for the 51. Christopher Hodges as well, Brandon Wallace, Justin Carey, all those drivers remained out there up until that caution. So we've got 4 sets of brand new Goodyear tires at the back half of the top 10. It's going to be a very hard challenge to keep these drivers at bay. Pace car is off into the Geico restart zone we go. And back on the loud pedal goes the 03 of Mahalski with a big jump immediately. About 4 or 5 cars over second place, Dakota Floyd. Jordan Trask to the inside just as quick as he can get there. Caleb Weekly looking to follow. Philip Brewer in that 44 right behind, back up to the high line for Brewer. A look to the inside now for Floyd.
If you're Noah Mahalski, you want to see these guys battling side by side as much as possible. Try to keep these guys at bay. 57 is going to try to get a run here on the bottom, try and challenge that 79 for position. Not going to be able to do it. Jordan Trask up to second. Floyd falls back to third. And Caleb Weekly now side by side with Brewer here for the 4th position.
Morgan Cook already up 2 positions from that restart, looking to hunt down the rest of the top 5 here. Here goes Weekly, sliding in between the 51 and the 44. At the 15 of Christopher Hodges there on the inside of Jacob Locklear. Looks like Richard Holland as well, trying to utilize that bottom line through 3 and 4. Brings it down to the white line across the front stretch. Brandon Wallace, Justin Carey just behind him as well.
I was going to say, I think you have the overlay software, right, where you can actually see what lap drivers took tires and kind of see who has an advantage and who doesn't.
Indeed, I can. Yes, sir. Noah Mahalski, 12 laps on his tires. Dakota Floyd, 11. As Jordan Trask makes his way to the inside of Mahalski, he's going to claim the lead here with a 4-lap advantage on the tires. That's big for the 79 here late in this race.
Yeah, that's going to be big for him, especially if he can get the clean air and kind of sail away. I think the other driver he's going to have to worry about is probably Morgan Cook. I think he may have fresher tires yet than the 79. So he's going to try to get through.
For Cook.
Yeah, 3 wide here. Going to be a little sketchy, but if he can clear this, I feel like that 51 is going to be in an even better spot with the fresher tires, but we'll have to see. The big loser out of this is going to be Mahalski and Floyd, because they are the ones who brought it down the earliest of any of these leaders. So right now, they're not going to have anything for these hard chargers with tires right now. It's only going to be a matter of time for this 51 gets around Mahalski, and then I think it's a battle between the 79 and the 51 at that point.
Morgan Cook with the best position that he's ran under green flag conditions, away from the pit cycles, up to 3rd place. And the biggest factor here, he's got 4-lap better tires over Jordan Trask and 8 laps better than Noah Mahalski on the tires. We'll see if Morgan Cook can take that 51 to the top step of the podium here. Further back, 2 drivers on the same strategy, rather 3. Christopher Hodges up to 5th now from the restart. Brandon Wallace running in 7th. Justin Carey in 9th. So all 4 of those drivers have made their way up to the top 10 now, as they started at the back half and just outside of the top 10. Big move for the 21 of Justin Carey just behind. Got clear of Locklear. Got it right back up on the top of the track here. Morgan Cook gets the inside of both of our leaders with the advantage across the line. Cook, can he get ahead here out of turn number 2?
It's going to be tight. I mean, he's got the tire advantage on him, so I would think he's going to be able to clear him, but Jordan Trask not going to make it easy on him. One car I'm surprised is hanging on as well as he is Noah Mahalski. I mean, he pitted along with Dakota Floyd, and he's still hanging with the leaders here, so credit him. But I think it's just a matter of time before this 51 is going to clear the 79, and he's going to be set and sail.
There it is. Morgan Cook to the lead here on lap 84. Christopher Hodges up to 3rd place now as well, just behind, gets in front of the 03, the 44, Philip Brewer into the wall on corner entry. Dakota Floyd behind. He is falling back here ever so slightly. Justin Carey to the inside with those fresh tires here. Brandon Wallace on attack, looking for the middle. Clear the 21. Does Wallace get clear the 57? He does. Brandon Wallace on pace for his best finish of the season. Jordan Trask still holding on to a podium spot here. Looks to the inside now of Hodges. Man, those fresh tires are going to be all the difference here. This time by will leave us with 15 to go.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, whoever's got the tires there, whoever went the longest on that last fuel run is sitting in a great spot right now. And you can't rule out Hodges either. He's a driver that went a little bit long, so he might have something here for the 51 of Cook. But, you know, we talked about the gamble of going a little bit longer than everybody else. And you catch a caution at the right time, which these guys did. You know, that puts them in the driver's seat to maybe go compete for this win. So let's not count out this 15 of Hodges. We got the 51 5-1 and the 15-1-5 going to be battling it out here for the race win. If this thing stays green, we catch another caution that is going to jumble this all up. Everybody at least still has one set of tires left, I do believe. But man, what a turn of events. Noah Michalski dominating the night, and then a late race caution here really shakes this thing up.
Now just trying to hold on to a top 4 position as Justin Carey has been all over the inside line here. 99 of Wallace still looking to claim a couple more positions. He gets around the 44 of Brewer. Now if you're Morgan Cook, Christopher Hodges, Justin Carey, or Brandon Wallace, you know, just a couple laps ago, you were hoping for that yellow flag to come out. And now it's the exact opposite. That is your worst nightmare at the moment. Putting these drivers who have been up at the front of the race the entire time under green flag conditions, putting them back on an even playing field. Good.
Yeah,
Hodges,
man.
Carey, Wallace, all looking for a green flag run to the end here. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you really got to feel for Noah Michalski. I mean, he did everything right tonight. Qualified on the pole, hit his pit strategy, was looking like, you know, he's going to come home a race winner, earn his second win in this series, and then a caution comes out and really shakes it all up, and then doesn't really have anything to battle with. So really unfortunate for Noah. I'm sure he is not happy behind the wheel of that race car, but I mean, you got to look at point situation here. It's not the ideal race to have with the way this thing is going, but gotta stay out there, try to get as many points as possible, and seed yourself better for the championship hunt. But right now it's Morgan Cook leading the way here as we're just under, or just about to be getting the 10 to go here. But man, I'm watching this 15 of Christopher Hodges. He's not going away just yet.
As he tags the wall out of corner exit number 4, Hodges will slow down just a touch, about 6/10 behind Morgan Cook. Jordan Trask doing a fantastic job right now, keeping the 21 of Justin Carey at bay. Jordan Trask, even though at a big disadvantage here on the tires compared to the 3 other drivers surrounding him at the moment, it could still be a good points day for the 79. He just has to hold on this time by for 10 more laps. The back behind, Michalski losing even more positions here. Brandon Wallace to the inside. Philip Brewer back in front of Noah Michalski. Wallace lost it a little bit there out of turn number 4. Collected it back up, used that apron across the front stretch, and now back under attack on the bottom line. Got Dakota Floyd here just behind as well. Richard Holland, who's been saving his tires up for this late race run. See if the 17 has anything to say to work his way back up a little bit higher, a little bit closer to that top 5 finish. Side by side for Wallace and Floyd. Floyd on the inside line. This will put Wallace on the outside here. Not where he's been too comfortable at. Handles 1 and 2. Oh, Brewer big time loose out of turn number 2. Gonna lose a little bit of that gap that he had to Noah Michalski. Ultimately keeps it still in front. Those tires with a little bit of extra heat can run entirely different. No pun intended.
Yeah, and as you're inching closer to the race, I mean, the action on track is not settling down at all. You look through the field, you still see 2 and 3 wide at some parts of the track, but Brandon Wallace in this 99 still working on trying to complete some passes. He's got the tire advantage on these guys, but that just shows you Dakota Floyd, Noah Michalski, these guys are tough to pass even if you do have a tire advantage on them. So Brandon Wall is certainly giving it all he can here to try to get a few more spots and maybe earn his best career finish here in the SNR Challenger Series.
Be the best career finish for Wallace, but man, I have to highlight here the 21 of Justin Carey, 24 positions gained. He started this race almost dead last. He had 31 cars start tonight. Justin Carey was in 28th, now up to 4th. He still has time to catch up with Jordan Trask. About 0.8 of a second separate 3rd and 4th place. See if Carey can close that gap up, make a challenge for that podium position. Morgan Cook still sitting right at a half-second advantage over Christopher Hodges. Hodges 0.6 to a half-second over Jordan Trask. Our top 3 spaced out quite a bit here. See if any of those drivers have saved enough tire to make it to the end. I'm keeping my eyes on that 15 of Hodges.
Yeah, he's still sticking right there with him. I'm not sure if he's going to have enough to be able there and complete a pass for the race win, but he's certainly not going to go down without trying. And you mentioned Justin Carey, the run he's having. He needs to have a good run. He is 10th in points right now. And, you know, the other 2 guys, we see Bryce Shoemaker holding 11th, Keith Shoemaker holding 12th. We only have 12 guys that advance to the playoffs. And so anything you can do to try to gain some more points here on your competitors and get yourself safely into the playoffs. You never know how some of these races might go. You could get wrecked out, so you certainly want to have a cushion. And then you got guys like Max Koss, Michael Muncy, Stephen Davis, all just 3 spots outside the top 12. You know, they need to have good runs too, and some of them are here. So this could shake up the points picture quite a bit.
That's a battle just outside of the top 10. Caleb Weekly, Bradley Cooper going back and forth here. Now Cooper and Curtis will get a big run around the outside. The 2 gets clear, the 13. 29 is going to be looking for the speed here out of turn number 2. See if he can get clear of Caleb Weekly before 3. Already cleared just halfway down the backstretch. So Cooper with that move takes over the 11th position. Judson Curtis 12th. Caleb Weekly falls back 2 to 13th. 4 to go here at Chicagoland. Oh, and big time loose for Weekly. We'll exit back up. We're going to stay green. As the rest of the field is single filed out. Except for now, Stephen Davis looking to the inside here. He wants another position. And he's, oh man, nearly gets it. But again, loose off at turn number 2. It's Morgan Cook is going to bring it around. This time by will be 2 to go for the 51 to take home the first checkered flag here in the SNR Challenger Series.
Yeah, now he's just praying that he can get around to that white flag, because if he does, it will be official. No caution can come out and jumble this thing up and take it away from him. So just a half a lap to go before he gets that white, and this thing is all but over.
Jordan Trask has caught back up to Christopher Hodges. It looks like the 79 might have saved enough tire, but he's going to ride the wall all the way through 3 and 4. The 15 gets into the wall. The battle's still hot here. For second place, Jordan Trask gets the advantage across the line as the white flag flies. Still 7/10 behind Morgan Cook, but this battle for second will not go away. Christopher Hodges still looking to the outside. Will he have the momentum coming down into turn number 3? Or will Jordan Trask edge it out here? Morgan Cook down into turn number 3, coming through turn number 4. The last straightaway for the 51. He sees the checkered flag down to the apron, and Morgan Cook takes home his first win of the SNR Challenger Series, the first Team V-Speed win of SNR.
Yeah, great job there by Morgan Cook to capitalize on the cards he was dealt. So, you know, electing to go long, you know, he figured he needed to try something different in order to maybe get the win. He went long on the fuel strategy and caught a caution at an ideal time, but, you know, it wasn't over yet. He had to get through the traffic cleanly and still, you know, run those last laps, you know, to the absolute max, and he did just that. Morgan Cook getting his second career win here in the SNR Challenger Series, won last season at Nashville in the Truck Series, but first one of the season here, season 2 of the SNR Challenger Series. Morgan Cook gets it done in the 51 machine.
Apologize for the misinformation. The excitement got to me there at the end. That was a fierce battle between Trask and Hodges. Nearly just under a tenth of a second separating second and third place across the line. That was quite exciting just for those two drivers and the entire field as a whole. That had to be fun to watch if you're in the seat of Philip Brewer. But congratulations to Morgan Cook on the night. You say we send it to a quick commercial break, catch our breath after that one. We'll be right back with our post-race results and interviews with our top three finishers. Stick around. You don't want to miss this one.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
And we're back from the Chicagoland area, Joliet, Illinois, Chicago Speedway. Man, what a finish that was. I don't know if that commercial break was quite long enough for me to catch my breath there, Jeff, but we're going to roll right into it here for our post-race results. Taking home the first win of the season, the 51, Morgan Cook gets it done with a late race caution falling in his favor. That is all you need sometimes. Jordan Trask with a great rebound here late in the race with the tire disadvantage still manages to work his way around that 15 of Christopher Hodges to take home second place. Hodges taking home third here, followed up by the 44 of Philip Brewer. Dakota Floyd, our points leader, will still have a good point tonight, taking home a fifth place finish. Richard Holland in the 17 takes home sixth. Our pole setter on the night, Noah Mahalski, the exact opposite story from Morgan Cook. That late race caution essentially costed the 03 this entire race, where he was up front and for so many laps. I would have to say probably close to 70 laps led for Noah Mahalski tonight. Brandon Wallace, it still might be his best finish of the season so far. The 99 takes home 8th on the night. Justin Carey in the 21 takes home 9th. And last but not least, it's the V-Speed number 2 of Bradley Cooper rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, how about that? Another top 10 for Bradley Cooper. That's 3 in a row for him, so he is certainly on a tear. Jacob Locklear gets 11th tonight. Judson Curtis was up in the mix towards the top 10. He settles for 12th. Caleb Weekly kind of caught on that alternate strategy or kind of got affected by the caution. He falls back to 13th after battling inside the top 10 most of the night. Stephen Davis will get 14th as he started 20th and worked his way up to 14th. Austin Belke up a few spots to 15th. Max Cost, another one of those drivers we saw a lot in the top 10. Didn't quite have the strategy go his way tonight. Eldon Stewart, a guy that was battling inside the top 5 at portions of the night. Unfortunate for him, he falls back to 17th. Matt Shinosky up a few spots, or actually lost a few spots, 15th to 18th. Tim Shinosky up a handful of spots, started 27th, gets 19th. And Matt Dominique rounds out our top 20 tonight here at Chicagoland.
And bringing up the back third of our field, Michael Jones goes from 31st to 21st, up 10 positions for the 22 machine, followed by the 94 of Jeremy Reed in 22nd. Keith Shoemaker takes the 88 to a 23rd finish here tonight. After watching the 32 of Chris Rude get sideways there, he goes 2 laps down, taking home 24th. The 56 of Benjamin Richards will get 25th on the night. Rob Hamp in the 18 will get 26th. Michael Muncy, who we had our eyes on with an early exit, I believe, maybe for the 19, he finishes 19 laps down in 27th. The 10 of Greg Spiker will finish 29 laps down here on the night. The 64 of Ben Laughter in 29th will be 37 laps down. Tad Dabney, our one and only caution, still a questionable yellow flag. I still feel like he was well off of the track enough to not bring out that flag, but iRacing saw it differently than I did. Dabney takes home 3rd, and last but not least, an early exit for sure. I saw that driver cam disappear. It's the Rob Denton 93 in 31st. I was really hoping to catch some more time with him throughout the race just to get a feel of how bumpy this track was. But, Jeff, we've got some interviews to get to, and I'm standing by now with our 3rd place finisher, Christopher Hodges. Christopher, we talked a little bit before this race. You came into it with a little less confidence than what you were finishing out with. What was the big change for you here? I'm assuming it was probably that yellow flag in that late 70s laps.
Yeah, that was it. I started 16th, maybe way up to 9th, and then just struggled on long run. Just couldn't really get my car hooked up. So I just ran the top most of the time just to save tires and try to do what I can. But that still didn't work. A lot of people were making hay on the bottom, and I just didn't feel comfortable down there. So I wanted to make hay down there, but during practice, I ran the top a lot, and then track changed. So it kind of didn't go my way. So yeah, I just made my way up after that caution and followed Morgan through there most of the time. If I would have been able to get a little bit closer to him during the restart, I think it would have been a good race. But overall, I'm proud of finishing 3rd. I gave it all I had. I couldn't do anything. I tapped the wall a couple times, and I feel like I could have got to Morgan a little bit quicker. But I could just say I gave it all I had. And but yeah, it's my first time ever being in the broadcast booth of an SNR race. So with the Challenger Cup. So I'm pretty proud of that. And going about 30 laps to go before that caution, I was like, I'm going to finish 14th or maybe get a top 10 if I can play the strategy right. And then I was like, oh, caution came out. Traffic got a bunch of guys lapped down, and the top 10 had a couple laps on their tires, so was able to capitalize on that. So last week at Dover, I feel like I had a top 5 car and kind of got bashed around by strategy. And this time it goes well for me. So proud of that.
Can't be unhappy with a podium finish by any means here, especially in SNR. Such a tough league to even get a top 10 in. Christopher Hodges, you do it here with a 3rd place finish. Now, that battle for 2nd place, you nearly got it, just less than a 10th of a second separating you and Jordan Trask across the line here to finish out this race. What do you think might have changed that for you? What keeps the 15 in that 2nd place finishing spot?
Coming to the white flag, not hitting the wall off the corner. I was just going for it at that point. I was like, if I could just keep with the 51, I might have a shot at it, but it just didn't really work out. But I kind of tapped the wall coming to the white flag, and he was able to get by me. And then I thought he washed up the track pretty bad. Jordan did. So I thought I was going to be able to get 2nd again, but I was just going for it. I mean, at that point I was thinking mentality win or bust. So just going for it and hanging on to it, just going for it. So.
Well, it worked out at the end of this day. Christopher Hodges, congratulations on third place. Is there anybody that you'd like to say thanks to?
I'd like to say thanks to my parents. Big supporters of mine. Finally got into the broadcast booth so I can talk, so they can kind of get my reaction from the race on V Speed here. And yeah, just all the competitors that I raced with. I'm thankful for, all the VRX guys that I have racing with me, and everybody else in the league that races with respect. And I race with all the time. I felt like I started racing the Challenger Series at Kentucky, and I feel like ever since then I kind of came to the mentality that, hey, I'm gonna get raced pretty clean, and but it's gonna be competitive, and that's what I've came to see. So I'm thankful for that.
Absolutely. Well, again, congratulations, buddy. Your best finish here so far with SNR. Go celebrate, and we will see you coming up just in about an hour or so. We start off the SNR Cup Series. So go get your practice in, Chris.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Third place finish. Started 16th. He's our second biggest mover in the top 10. The only other one being Justin Carey, finishing out there in 9th with 19 positions gained. But let's head right on down here to Jordan Trask. I believe Jeff right now is standing by with our second place finisher.
I am. I'm on pit lane right now with Jordan Trask. Started second, finishes second. Jordan, it was kind of an up and down day for you, to say the least. And late race caution kind of made this race a little bit interesting towards the end, differing tire strategies out on the racetrack. What more did you need to maybe have and run down that 51 of Morgan Cook?
Well, in the first place, no caution would have been nice. I was definitely playing the long game, trying to get a long run. I had 5-6 lap fresher tires than everybody, and I seemed to be really good on those long runs. Morgan he had the fresher tires. There was not really much I could do. I saved as much as I could, managed to claw back to second, but yeah, it was a great race. Ran up front all race and felt like I was the fastest car here tonight, but unfortunately slid through my box on pit road and had some slow entries, so didn't get to lead as much as I wanted to.
Seems like you've obviously been a car that's tended to qualify really well. See 4 front row starting spots on the season so far. Tonight, you were playing the long strategy a lot. As you mentioned earlier, you were one of those front runners that decided to go long the first run. The second run, it looked like you went a little bit longer. Do you think had things stayed green, do you think that would have been the race-winning strategy? It seemed like when you came out of pit lane, those leaders were, 5-6 seconds ahead of you. Do you think that those fresher tires you had would have been enough to overcome that and maybe get your first win here in the SNR?
Yeah, I definitely think I would have caught them. After I came out the first time, I only had 3 lap fresher tires, and I ran them down by 5 seconds. And coming out the second time, I had 6 and 5 lap fresher tires. So as long as I maintained the pace I'd followed, I definitely think I would have caught them. Definitely would have had a first or second place finish with Noah or me, or maybe even Dakota. He was pretty quick up there. But yeah, I mean, that's racing. Cautions happen, and you just got to make the best with what you got.
Well, a second place finish on the night. Jordan, I know we go out to a place where you have a lot of confidence in Iowa Speedway next week. Do you feel like that might be the track to get you over the hump and get you into victory lane for the first time here in the SNR Challenger Series?
Yeah, I sure hope so. Definitely put a lot of laps at that track. Very comfortable there. Haven't run Xfinity too much, but always loved that track. Last season, unfortunately, got it caught up in a wreck or two, but still pulled the top 5. And as long as I can stay clean, I think I'll be up in the top 3 again.
Well, Jordan, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank or maybe give a shout out to?
Yeah, big thanks to you guys for the broadcast. Jeff and Logan, you two do a great job, and Bradley when he's here. And big thanks to V-Speed, and thanks to Joseph McWhorter and the team. We've had a pretty solid year so far. Both cars currently in playoff positions with 1 win for the team, and thanks for all the spotting and everything they do.
All right. Well, that was Jordan Trask, second place on the night. Jordan, thanks for talking with us.
Yeah, have a good one.
So just 1 spot short, Logan. He wanted 1 spot better, and he certainly thinks that he had the car to do that and had the strategy to do it, but sometimes things just don't work out. But who it did work out for tonight, that is your race winner, his second career SNR Challenger Series win, his first win of the season, rather, comes at Chicagoland. Logan is standing by alongside Morgan Cook.
With Morgan Cook down here in winner's circle, and not our first Canadian in the booth tonight. I just realized that we had 2 Canadian drivers taking home podium positions, but the 51 taking home the top step. Morgan Cook, how does it feel to take home your first win here in season 2?
Well, it feels like I stole something, Logan, because I did. I'm glad we were able to get the win, but let's not jump up and down too high. This was a 10th place car at best all night. Strategy couldn't do it for me. At the beginning of the race, I ended up falling back even further than I was, and really just threw a Hail Mary up at the end of the race and was able to get that caution. We won't talk about the caution here, but it happened, and I cycled to the front, and the rest is history.
Well, let's completely take that yellow flag out of the equation here. We noticed that you were running a much larger overcut than we expected. At this point, I believe it was 4 or 5 laps. I want to double down and say 4 laps over what our leaders brought it down. Noah Mahalski, Jordan Trass, even Dakota Floyd in that picture. So what was the overall plan? Like, if we don't have that yellow flag, when do you bring that 51 down pit road?
When the tank goes dry, which was another 4 or 5 laps. What I had noticed, and I did the same thing last week at Dover, I stayed out until the fuel tank was dry. I wasn't going to gain any spots naturally, so I had to try something different. And I was already running 10th. There was pretty big gaps behind me. I wasn't really going to lose that much if it went sideways. But basically, what I was going to do is I was going to run all the way until it was empty, because I noticed that about for the first 10 laps, every lap was about a tenth of a second, give or take. So I'm thinking in my head, if I run 10 laps longer, I'm basically a second faster for 15 laps. And that should be able to make up most of, if not more than what I lost by staying out a little bit longer. That was kind of the thought process. And I'll keep those fresh tires compared to the other guys for the rest of the run, the last 20 so laps. That was my thought process. And I'm glad it didn't get put to the test. I'm glad that it worked out this way.
Well, that was kind of leading into my next question there is, how do you feel like that would have played out? Was it going to be in favor for you, or do you think at that point you're still battling for a top 10 spot?
Oh, top 10 spot for sure. I mean, I might have been able to sneak up to 8th, kind of 7th through 10th was pretty close together there. But I think the best case scenario was I was going to finish in the back half of the top 10. Worst case scenario, I was going to finish inside the top 15, but not the top 10. So kind of somewhere in there. So this was absolutely the best case scenario. I mean, this never happens, right? The only caution of the race happened exactly when I needed it to, and some days it just works out that way.
Indeed it does, but 23 laps led. You started out in 11th, gained 10 positions to take home your first win of season 2. Morgan Cook, the floor is yours, my friend. Who do you have to say thanks to?
First off, everyone here at V-Speed for putting on these shows. Logan, Brad, Eddie, Adam, everyone else behind the scenes who makes these things happen. I think SNR, all the admins, Jeff Wright, and others. Appreciate having a forum to be able to race here and have a good time. Competitive racing. You guys do a great job. Props to you every week for putting on some of the best racing that I've ever been a part of and I've ever seen. Which is fantastic. I got to thank my parents, grandparents. I got people who actually watch me now, so that's pretty cool. My grandpa sat me down last week and said, "Boy, why are you so slow?" And I've turned it around since then. So thanks for that, Gramps. But able to put it in victory lane here today. Thank the teammates. I was with Brad, Richard, and Dakota here tonight. We all struggled with this thing bouncing off the apron or off the racetrack. The splitter was way too low for the setup. But yeah, it was great. Thanks everyone. Thanks for everyone for watching, all the fans, and let's go to Iowa next week.
Well, you kind of took the words right out of my mouth there. So congratulations, Morgan. Go celebrate, buddy. You deserve it. First win of season 2.
You bet. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Absolutely. Can't forget that. That's the most important part. Well, Jeff, that concludes our post-race coverage here in the great Chicago area. Next up, we've got an absolute banger of a track coming up here. It's Las Vegas, baby. It's going to be who is the most lucky here. That's coming up here in just about 45 minutes. The Saturday Night Racing League Cup Series, Week 10. Starts at 10 p.m. Eastern. Jeff Wright, I know this is one of your favorite tracks on the service. It's been kind of a slow start for you here in the next-gen car. What are you expecting here from our Cup Series drivers? And overall, how are you feeling in that 48 machine?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. I mean, it's going to be hot. It's going to be slick. Las Vegas is, I think, in my opinion, one of the most fun ovals to drive on all of iRacing. But it's in the next-gen car, right, that we've been in all season in the Cup Series. And so some of the things you can take away from, say, a Gen 4 car, Xfinity car, might not translate to the next-gen. But looking for a good time. Everybody needs to tune in for sure. It's going to be a fun race. Probably going to have close to near 40 cars out there tonight at Las Vegas, so certainly should be a good one. And yeah, I'm excited for the challenge, and we'll see what happens. But before we leave here, Logan, I wanted just to say one thing. With that win with Morgan Cook had tonight there at Chicagoland, he joins a very small group of people. So I think his grandpa's got to cut him a little bit of slack, because he is a 2-time winner in the SNR Challenger Series, and not many people can say that. There's only 5 drivers that have won multiple races in the SNR Challenger Series, and that's Dakota Floyd with 3. Philip Brewer has won 2, alongside Brian Chambliss, Morgan Cook now with 2, and Nathan Ferrata. Only multiple-time winners in the SNR Challenger Series, so Morgan's better tell Grandpa back off a little bit. It's hard to win in this series, and Morgan's done it twice now, so I think he's doing just fine out there.
I would have to agree with you, but if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, as our race winner tonight had mentioned, so you never miss another race. Racing every single night here on V-Speed. There's a lot of action all over the place, but for everybody behind the scenes here at SNR, of course, Jeff Wright, all the other admins, Brian Chambliss, our race controller, Chad Klinger, all those guys that are working their tails off behind the scene here to make Saturday nights happen. And, of course, everybody behind the scenes at V-Speed, Bradley Cooper, who you see up in the booth frequently here, Adam Baker, Morgan Cook even, one of our producers and commentators, and, of course, Eddie Smith behind the scenes quite a bit. It's been a fantastic race here, but it's time to head to the west side of the United States. We got to catch a flight here, Jeff, to get there. But thank you all for watching here tonight, and we'll see you next week at Iowa. Good night, everybody.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walk In and Roll in Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes Build Events and be a part of something extraordinary.